back to my channel. Today we're doing something a little bit different, as you know from the title of the video. I read a total of 47 books this year, so I thought it might be fun to just go through them and go through like my top reads, which ones I'd recommend and which ones I wouldn't. We obviously all have different preferences. 47 might not be a lot to a lot of people. I think a lot of people can read a lot faster, but as someone that's like an average reader and had things like a full-time job and all the other things in life, that is how many I got through this year. I think there was a month where I didn't read at all. I can't remember which month that was. I think it was October. I read absolutely 0 books. No books were read. I think I tried to start a book and ended up having to do an effort. So that happens. That's what I mean by average reader. I'm not necessarily trying to read a lot of books. I was just reading books and enjoying it. You know what? Let's just get into this. I've been using Storygraph to track everything, and this is what I'm busy looking at the moment. I don't know if you can see that, but I'll probably insert like a clip of this. But as you can see from this picture, my most pages read was in July, and I think most books read, it looks like May or possibly April. Like those were the ones that are like on the same level, which is really crazy because I thought it was February, but apparently it wasn't. It just went up from there. Like I said, 47 books were read and 19,803 pages, which to me sounds like a lot, but I know a lot of the booktubers that I watch, that is nothing compared to them. So let's go through stuff. I also need to multitask and do some makeup because I'm going to be seeing some family soon and I feel half asleep. So hopefully makeup will wake me up a bit. Also, if you hear running around at any point, I'm house sitting and there's a dog, a little puppy, that's sitting under the table right now. So he runs around a lot, and if you hear that, that's what that is. Did you fart? That smells really bad. No. That's so bad, oh my god. Okay, we're just gonna be doing very simple light makeup today. Pretty much just like concealer. I'm gonna be looking at my phone to try and, you know, see what I am doing. But I want to start with my very first 5-star book for the year, which I also think is my favorite book of the year. 100%, like my number one. There has been nothing that has beat it. It's been absolutely amazing. Again, this is my personal preference, but the Naturals series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, I've never read a book by her before, and I absolutely fell in love. Absolutely adored the Naturals. I think every single one of that series was a 5-star for me. That was a 5-star series. If you don't know the Naturals, the way that I describe it, I would rather read the synopsis because the way I describe books is like, from what I can remember, I think I read this book in like February, so it's been a while. But for me, if you like Criminal Minds, it's basically Criminal Minds, but it's teenagers, and they all have like reasons for the way that they feel that part of the group. Like they've got some trauma that has led them to this point in their life to be working for the FBI as teenagers, obviously. So it's been like really interesting, and the way the cases unravel in each book is a different case. There's a plot twist that I'm always like never expecting. I think there's been like a couple where I thought it was like, oh, I think it's this, and I've been wrong, and I'm not usually wrong. Like in Criminal Minds, I can always guess who the bad guy is, and in this one it's not the case. So I absolutely love the Naturals. I would recommend that book to anyone. It was such an easy, fast read. The writing is really easy to understand. Honestly, just super quick, and I fell in love with the characters. There's still one character that really annoys me, but that wasn't the main character, so it's okay. But I love the main character so much, and I'm kind of sad. The only thing I regret about that book is that it's finished, that I've finished the series, and now I will never be able to reread it because I remember it so clearly because that's how good it was. That was definitely, oh, I love that book. I love that series so much. Makeup bag is a mess. Let me just quickly Pikachu myself and then we can continue. These are just gonna be at random once I'm able to get my blush in, because honestly I'm not gonna be able to really see what I'm doing because I needed this to look at Storygraph at the same time. I should have actually had it open on my laptop, but I didn't do that. So these, like I said, are at random. One of my favorite authors of the year, I did start reading her books last year, but I think I fell in love with her even more this year because I only finished the Throne of Glass series with Sarah J Maas. I don't know how you say her name. the beginning of this year, I was still reading Kingdom of Ash because it was such a long book, 984 pages. That's how long Kingdom of Ash was, but that was the last book, I think, of Throne of Glass. And I was obsessed with this series. I started with Court of Thorn and Roses last year. Finished that series and I was like, oh, I read the first book like years ago and it didn't really do it for me, but then I heard that it changes. I was like, you know what, I'll do it again. I read the first book again, preferred it this time around, then loved the series, absolutely fell in love with the series. So I was like, okay, I need to read her other books. Read Throne of Glass. That was my favorite. If you have to read any one of her series, Throne of Glass is 100% my favorite. I love Throne of Glass. Then I have to go on to Crescent City. So I read the whole Crescent City one. But for my 5-star books, Kingdom of Ash was my favorite because it like brought everything together, and the way that all the books all of a sudden connect, and I feel like she thought this out so well. I love that. I love when all the little threads get pulled together at the end of a book. And then Crescent City, and the first book was my favorite, House of Earth and Blood. That was also a 5-star for me. The other 2 books in the series, I wasn't a huge fan of. I actually struggled to finish them, but I really did enjoy the first one a lot. I do usually prefer first books. I think it's just really nice when you start a new fantasy series. It's almost like starting a new series on Netflix and falling in love with it and watching it. It's like you get so excited that you found a book that you can't put down, and I absolutely love that feeling. So that was one of those books. There's gonna be a lot of talking because I don't actually have physical books. I used to when I was younger, but physical books are expensive. So here's another realistic part of it is I read them electronically. I used to read them on my tablet. I had a Kindle years ago and then it broke. So I read them on like my dad's old tablet, and it was a bit of a mission. But I just recently for Christmas, if you want to see, I did like a Christmas or everything I got for Christmas on my TikTok, which is down below. But I recently got a Kindle for Christmas, so now I can read everything properly, and I'm so excited for that. It's going to be such a game changer. Anyway, but that's the reason why I would otherwise be showing each book, but I'll be putting them on the screen so we can like see what we're talking about. I've been watching Sarah Carey, I think that's how you say her name, on YouTube. I love her videos. Her, Hailey Fam, they're like my fave. I found her through Hailey, but I like absolutely adore, like, is this Sarah? I feel like I want to say Sarah, but I love her and I love her hair. Like I desperately want that hair color now because of her. I was like wanting something similar and I wasn't entirely sure what hair color I wanted until I saw her and I was like, wait, that's the one. Anyway, I love her videos. I think she's adorable and so much fun. But through her recommendation, she said to read Kingdom of the Wicked on one of her videos. And I was like, oh, I like the way she's describing this. I take so many of my recommendations from her. I feel like my taste is very similar to hers most of the time. It's like, oh, I have to read it because it's like very witchy. And I love that series. Kingdom of the Wicked is like super, especially during like autumn, I feel it's a really good time to read that. I didn't read it during autumn. I think I read it during like end of winter, beginning of spring, but I just love the whole witchy thing of it. And like in the beginning, it's very much collecting like the ingredients for being like witchy. I don't know, it's like it was the perfect amount of witchy for me on like collision of the demon world. It's both of those, and it's like a twist that you don't really expect. I just really love the characters in this. I think it's very much, it's like an enemies to lovers fantasy. And the second book, Kingdom of the Cursed, was a 5-star for me. I can't even remember what it was about that book. The second one just did it for me. I think it was the character coming into her own power. I don't want to ruin anything for you, so I'm not going to say anything else other than that if you haven't read it. But that just like, I love that. I love that part so much. Also, there's something about characters starting to like come together romantically that just also like does it for me. That's the peak. Before they're like together, when they're like starting to come together, I love that part of it. Back to Jennifer Lynn Barnes, she had more 5-stars for me. As I said, the entire Natural series was a 5-star. And then I also had to read the Inheritance Games by her because like, oh, I love her writing. I love how easy it is to read. It's so fast paced and you read more of her books. And the Inheritance Games, yeah, it was like published in 2020. So it's not a new book, but I loved that book. The first one was definitely it for me. I love the riddle aspect of it, the way they have to try and like figure things out. All the characters, like in the beginning, you have no idea who to trust, who to like, and I love that aspect. So the Inheritance Games and also the second book, The Hawthorne Legacy, those are 2 5-stars for me. They're super quick, easy reads. Both are just under 400 pages, so like 300 and something pages each. They're so quick, so easy, so fast paced, and I love the mystery aspect of those. again, I just love her writing. I think I've discovered her as an author this year for me that I really enjoy. So I think my two favorite authors of the year are obviously Sarah J. Maas and Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Then a random book that I read recently off of, I think it was a TikTok recommendation. It was A Court That's Cruel and Lovely in the Kingdom of Lies series. It's by Stacey Stark. And the reason, oh my god, the cat. There's cats here. We hardly ever see them because the dogs pounce on them. The cat's so cute. Let me see if he'll let me show you. This is Stevie. Hey!
Yeah.
That was a mistake. So Stevie wasn't hissing at us. Stevie was hissing at the dog because the dog likes to jump on Stevie. So Stevie does not enjoy that. And the dog was trying to get to Stevie, so Stevie hissed. But Stevie didn't even claw me while he hissed, so I really, really appreciate that. Then another 5-star for me that is an old book that a lot of people have read already, excuse the noise in the background, that's just Stevie eating his food, is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I'd never read it before, so this is my first time. I did read the entire series. Only the first book was a 5-star for me. The others weren't like ranked too, you know, low, but I really did enjoy the first book. I didn't enjoy the Netflix series at all. I know a lot of people did. I didn't. I felt like it didn't hold enough tension for me like the book did. The way that the book unraveled the information was perfect, and I feel like the series gave too much too quickly. I don't like the changes they made. I understand why they did it, but it just wasn't for me. But the book itself, love the book. It gets so much darker. Yeah, I felt really sad at the end of the third book. The way that things had to change for this character, I just felt so bad for her and so frustrated with the plot line. But the first book, as well as the second book, were really, 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 really good. I love the way that they delivered the information for the mystery. The way that it unravels is perfect. It leaves you guessing, you try and figure it out with her, and that's the perfect way for a mystery in my opinion. And the last 5-star for me that isn't part of all the series I've already mentioned is Reckless, which is the second book in the Powerless trilogy. I cannot wait for the third book. If it's out already by the time this comes out, I sincerely doubt it. I think it only comes out in like later 2025, but I'm so excited for this third book. The first one was good. The first book was really good. It gave what I needed for first book fantasy to get me hooked, but the second one is what sold it for me. And it wasn't even the way that, okay, a lot of people are upset with the second book because it wasn't as much as the first book. If you don't know, almost gives like Hunger Games vibes with the way that they have to like train and go into this competition against each other, and that aspect like a lot of people love. I love it as well. That's very similar, like Throne of Glass also starts the competition and like that gets you hooked. The second book had nothing to do with that, and it's more the banter between the characters, and I just really enjoyed their banter. I didn't expect to. I didn't think I would like it because that's usually boring, but it moved fast enough for me. It's a quick book, it's only 383 pages, and the banter between them made me love them. I did not love them in the first book. I loved the plot, but I did not love the characters, like their relationship. Second book made me love their relationship and actually get attached to them and wanted to work out for them. So Reckless was my favorite, and I'm so excited to see the rest of that trilogy. Then some other special mentions that I really do want to put in here. They weren't 5 stars, but they were pretty high for me, and I just remember really enjoying them. It was Phantasma, part of the Wicked Games. I don't think I'll be reading the second book. It didn't get me that interested in the other character that the second book will be about, but it did wrap everything up quite nicely. It ended up being a little bit too much of, what is it called? Is it closed door romance? Is that what it's called? I'm not entirely sure what the name is for it, but when you read it, I think you'll get it. They got together very quickly, and that's the part I was like, oh, because I love the build up, I love the tension, and they got together very quickly. That's the only part that like took it a little bit away from me, but I really did enjoy the game part of it, the Wicked Games. I really did enjoy that. I also read the Lightlock series this year, which I didn't know how I was going to feel about it, but I actually really enjoyed the first book. Again, it's the whole like game situation, the competition, if you like it type of thing. Like a lot of these are like fantasy competition vibes, like dystopian, or even just like very much like Hunger Games-y with this like training, and in between the games there's stuff happening. That I love those types of stuff, and if you like that, then Lightlock was actually really good. I did enjoy that aspect of it. I think they did it pretty well. What's her name? Alex Aster, is that how you say it? I really enjoyed Lightlock. Nightbane, I wasn't as big of a fan of. I think it was just because it's like, it felt a little bit, at times, either too rushed or too slow. The pacing in the second book just wasn't it for me, but I will read the third one. I'm interested for her to go back to a certain character. I can't say more than that because it's like it's changing all the time. I'm very confused about how I feel about everyone. but I'm curious to see how it ends. I will definitely be finishing it. Another series that I have to mention that I absolutely loved wasn't 5 stars, but I think the entire, you are making noise with your clothes. The entire series for me was a 4-star series, which I still see is pretty high, and I still remember, and I'm still like dying to read the other book, but I don't think she started writing it yet. But it's a Truly Devious series by Maureen Johnson. I see that I think I've rated every single one of them as 4 stars, which for me is really, really good. I don't know why it wasn't higher for me. I think the fact that it's like stuck in my head this entire year since I've read it. I read these in May. I read all of them in May and June. June was the last one that I read. And I'm still thinking about them. So I think I might even maybe bump them up to like a 4.5. They were really, really good. I really enjoyed them. Truly Devious, The Vanishing Stair, The Hand on the Wall, The Box in the Woods, 9 Liars. I loved all of them. I thought they were really, really good. I had this cat that I'm house sitting, his name is Stevie, and that's the main character's name in these books. Every time I call this cat, I think of this book. So that series as well, it's like a murder mystery. Yeah, I think you would call it a murder mystery. It's like titled here as a contemporary mystery thriller, young adult, mysterious. It's fast paced. 100%. Yes, it's definitely fast paced. Most of them are fast paced. There's a couple that are a little bit slower, but I think the way that you get like attached to the characters over time, a lot of people don't like the romantic interest in the book. I was okay with him. I do definitely think that the main character deserves better. The cliffhanger that left us on in the last book has ruined me, and I need to know the rest. So if you're looking for something that's as like teenagers at a school that's particularly for extremely talented or extremely smart people, and in there is a murder mystery amongst other stuff, you will love this. There's a lot to uncover. It switches back between the past and like shows you the evidence from that case from like, I think it was in 1900s, somewhere in the 1900s. It like shows you those case files and like reports from that and interviews and everything. The way that switches back, I didn't think I'd like it, but I actually really did. And then there's the Shadow Me series. That is a series that I thought that I would love, and I didn't hate it. I really enjoyed it, but some of them were like up and down for me. I'm trying to see what I rated the first one. Okay, so the actual first one I rated pretty low. I thought that was only a 3-star for me, but as it went on, I enjoyed it a bit more. I actually enjoyed like the half books as well, like Destroy Me, which I think is an in-between book between the first one and the second one. That was a 4-star for me. Unravel Me was 4-star. So it started to go up. Fracture Me, the mini one, was 3-star, but that's okay. Third book was 4 stars, which is Ignite Me. Fourth book, Restore Me, 4 stars. Then Shadow Me was a mini book, so I don't have to mention that. Defy Me was a book 5, that's 4 stars. The 6th book, 4 stars. All of them main books were good ratings for me, except for the first one. So if you don't enjoy the first one, a lot of people really do, but if you don't push through it, it gets better. It was a bit depressing in the first one for me. It picks up, and then all of a sudden it's like starts to become more fast paced. The first book was a little bit too slow paced to me. There wasn't much happening. As you go on, a lot starts to happen, and the character becomes more powerful, and that is what I enjoyed a lot. I like a badass female main character. So she eventually becomes that, and if you enjoy that, then that series was really good, and it becomes faster paced. I ended up on reading all of those pretty quickly. I think they were all like within the end of April, beginning of May, and I finished those pretty quickly. That's where I got a lot of my books from, because it's quite a long series, but they're very enjoyable. So I would recommend that still. I also read The Crowns of, how do you say it? Nyaxia, I have no idea, by Carissa Broadbent. I read that series this year. The first book I really enjoyed, Serpent and the Wings of Night, but like of course I did, because it was a game, it was a competition. The first book was a competition. I'm starting to see a huge pattern here. That first book was amazing. Second book was actually like, there was also a competition in that one. So I don't know why I didn't enjoy it as much. I think it was just a lot slower paced for me, and again, they were kind of already together, so I lost a little bit of interest, but it was just more slower paced. It was also a longer book. It just felt like it wasn't as much happening as quickly as the first book did. First book was my favorite. Second book, I was like, I could read this, I could not. But I'll see how I feel about the third book, because that might ramp it up again for me. And then the last little mention that I want to do is actually quite a small book. Well, I felt smaller at the time. It's Sorcery of Thorns, which is part of the Sorcery of Thorns series. I think it's a little mini series. I don't know if there's a second book out yet. So far, the only books I've read is the first one, and then there was a like little mini 1.5 book. That was Mystery of Thorn Manor. They're very easy to read. The romance is very, I think that's what you call open door, where the literally the only thing they ever do at some point, it takes a while, is kiss, and that's it. There's nothing else that happens there. It's very much strictly like their magic system and the demons and all of that stuff is very, very interesting. And the main character doesn't even have magic, but she has knowledge. Her power is her knowledge and her use of books. And I really did enjoy the way that it was written. It felt very cute. It felt exactly what I needed. I read it in February, which is odd. I thought I read it in autumn, but that was summer for me. So anyway, it felt like a very autumnal book. It was very cozy. I enjoyed it a lot, especially as like a quick, easy read. I definitely recommend that. I'm keen to see what the other books will be like. I definitely wouldn't miss it out. Apparently, I doesn't know if there's any other book scheduled for that yet, which I'm kind of disappointed by because I actually enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed the mini book as well. It was very cute, and I like that we got to see more of the characters again. If you're still here at the end of my rambling, and I won't necessarily say take me for my word, but I will say a lot of my recommendations are from like TikTok, people that were recommending things that are similar to books we've already read. Didn't I read, was fourth one was last year? I think I read Onyx Storm this year. I honestly cannot remember, but I'm really excited to read the third book of the Fourth Wing series, whatever that's called. I can't remember what the series name is called, but I would just refer to it as Fourth Wing because that's always where I remember. It's also like training and stuff. Everyone knows Fourth Wing, but I've read a lot of books that were recommended from people that enjoyed that. And obviously like Sarah Carolee and Haley and the Reading Gang. So these are my books that I enjoyed, my thoughts on them. Obviously we have different thoughts on everything, but I really hope that you enjoy it. If you are a reader, that you enjoyed your reading year. And I'm honestly so excited to get back into reading at the beginning of this year, especially on my Kindle, get back into my reading journal because I stopped in June. I was so good for the first half of the year. I journaled every month consistently, and then I just stopped. I think life got a bit too busy and I just didn't have time anymore, but I'm gonna make time for it again. I'm gonna start. I'm really excited. I want to do like a 2024 wrap up and then like my reading list for 2025. So if you have any book recommendations based on like what you've heard that I enjoy, please let me know. I need new ones. My reading list at the moment is quite short, so please, 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 if you have any recommendations for me, I would really appreciate it. So please list down your recommendations for me below. Oh, guys, when I say I appreciate it, I mean like legitimately, it's gonna be my entertainment for the next year. So yes, please. Other than that, I'll see you guys next week for our usual type of videos. If there's anything in particular you'd like to see, let me know. The dog is running around. But next week, Wednesday at 6 p.m. I'll see you then. I hope you have a lovely week and bye.